There's an old truism that says, we don't know what we don't know. And most of us live within the confines of the unknown. We have a small window of awareness, and for us, mostly, it's kind of all there is. This is what we know based on our history, our genetics, our DNA, our family's tutorials. Everything that we've been given over the course of our lifetime forms a world of our experience that is knowable. It is the vehicle through which we look out and see everything. And we basically say this is the world. It's our picture of what is. Now, it's possible in life to expand that awareness. One of the ways is through study. Education starts to tell you there's a world of mathematics, there's a world of historical significance, there's a world of biology, there's a world of chemistry, there's all of these worlds, and as we become students, we begin to know a little bit more, and again, that is what we know. Some people avail themselves of literature, and they read, and every book they read expands their awareness of how the world works. They get to see the world through the eyes of other people, which is very valuable. Some people use movies or theater or whatever to keep that world getting, in a way, bigger and more expressive. And yet, it's always limited by what we know. Every so often, ideas come into the mind of what it would be like if there really were aliens landing on the earth, or flying saucers, or other intelligences, or whatever. And so the mind can speculate about otherness. But again, it's all mindful exploration. And one feels, in a certain sense, either at peace with what one knows, or confined by it. Some people never challenge the known. They don't challenge how the universe manifests for them, and they make it the truth. And a lot of people's truths are informed by the informational flow that comes into their lives, which also includes, in many ways, belief systems. So they create a complete picture of the world and live within it. We all know that there are areas that are unexplored in our life, and that we are often satisfied to leave unexplored. For example, there are many people I know who've never been to an opera, or who've never been to Coachella or Burning Man, or whatever it is, these things that would completely alter your normal framework. Most people are content to stay within the familiar and within the known and just live there. But there is something that can happen in human life that explodes the world of the known. That truly puts you in the space of that which is unknown and unknowable. And it changes everything, because you begin to look at everybody's framework, and you realize they don't know. You begin to see a bigness of the universe, a vastness of possibility, a sense of infinite eternal light, if you will, or reality. And you look at your own life in relationship to that and you just say, boy, oh boy, I thought I knew. And then you walk around with a new awareness of not knowing. The known is no longer meaningful. It's not meaningful because it doesn't define anything except your limited exploration of the unknown. If you are blessed enough to explode into higher consciousness, other consciousness, you will come back from that experience with an extraordinarily important piece of information. And that is that the universe is bigger, possibly wiser, fundamentally embracing of the tininess of your being. And that unknown, unknowable, uncontainable, undefinable, ungraspable reality that you come to know is somehow, in some way that is ungraspable, you. And this tiny little person that you are with this limited experience will now be able to say with some great clarity, I don't know. I am in touch with that which cannot be known. And for people who do know, that's a very odd statement. It's like, what do you know? And all you can tell people is everything you believe isn't true. Everything you think about who you are and what you are is a fiction that you have woven in this realm of unknowing. It's not a bad thing. It's actually how the world gets created. The world gets created based on our sense of knowing. And so, in a way, why would you want to take that away from anybody? Well, one, you can't take it away. Two, people will look at you as though you're very odd. And sometimes they may sense a kind of wisdom in you, but mostly I think they will feel like you are outside of their sphere of comfort. Why would one want to know what one doesn't know? Why would that be an attractor? Well, I have to say, for most people, it's not. Most people that I know are very content to remain within the framework of their given experience. But then there are others, and it may be a genetic predisposition, I don't know, that say, this isn't enough for me. It feels almost like a prison. I want more. And you start to look for avenues to give you that. Some people do it in extreme sports. They think if they jump off a bridge and bungee back up again, something in that explosion of experience will give them something that carries them out of the familiar, challenges the known, and they will walk away with more information. And that's true, they will. They will definitely have expanded their awareness. They will have broken some of the barriers of their life. In the amazing world we live in right now, we can swim under the ocean with air. So we could actually spend time in the coral reefs. We can fly in airplanes. We can jump out of airplanes. We have so many experiences that are available to us in the material world that teach us how to experience what was once totally unknowable. And yet we come back from all of that going, okay, I did that. I can do that. But it's still completely confined by the experiential, by the mind, by the body, by this sense of history, narrative that you've created, and your life just becomes a bigger, if you will, prison of experience. There are people who discover that there is this world of inward knowing called meditation. It is broadcast throughout the eastern parts of our world as a practice. Hindu, Buddhist practices, and some other cultures embody them as well, of sitting still. Sitting still and finding this journey into unknown spaces, not unlike jumping out of airplanes or swimming with the dolphins. There's an inner space that you can go to, and if you have the courage to dive deep, you can have an expanded experience that arrives in stillness. You go deep, deep, deep into this inner world, and it takes you in. It cherishes your arrival, and it starts to explore and explain all of this newness of being that is as big inside as it appears to be outside. So the outer world around you, as magnificent as it is, has a mirror-like inner reality that is available to us if you want to go there. But in the end, it's experiential. You go inside and you experience stillness, expansiveness, joy, wisdom, clarity. And the deeper you go, the bigger that appears to be. And yet, in some regard, it's still knowable. There's a part of you that will go, I get it. I am part of something very big, that the inner being of my life is as vast as the outer, that the macrocosm and the microcosm are part of the same whole. And you have this amazing awareness of the what is of life. You will also begin to develop a kind of balance between the inner and the outer, and the more you can find depth in the inner life, the more you can experience depth and expansion in the outer, and you become this really vast person. But it's still known. It's still something you can reference, talk about, share, explore, teach. You can still get diplomas, if you will, for this kind of expanded awareness. And then there are people who discover there are drugs you can take. They became very prominent in the 60s. They've been prominent in history for eons of time. But there are drugs you can take that can literally, maybe literally is the wrong word, but they can blast you into the unknown. You can have ceremonial approaches to this. You can sit around with a group of people and ingest these materials and vomit your guts out, and then suddenly have clarity about all there is. You can actually witness the unknown and the unknowable and come back from that experience. And you can actually use that to set yourself on the path to going, what was that? What is all this? Because it's so different than anything you've known before. It's so other. And you start to try to bring it back into focus, bring it back into meaningful state. You start reading about Buddha. You start reading about all these ancient texts that deal with these phenomenon of higher consciousness. And again, you try to cognate it all. Many people who do these drugs, their feeling is, let me just go back there and see it again, and again, and again, and again. It doesn't help. It does not help just to revisit that in some way. But what starts to happen, if you're lucky, is that you begin to be aware that you cannot hold onto any of this. And what happens is a extraordinary surrender, an extraordinary letting go of the you that needs to know, the you that wants a familiarity with the infinite, the you that wants to be able to market it, sell it, live it, teach it, express it over and over. There's something that starts to happen where that thing which needs to grasp it starts to erode, because the more you expose yourself to the unknowable, the more that which is known evaporates. Just evaporates. And so here we have this meditative practice, trying to arrive at some place of higher awareness. This journey that wants to take us there. This journey that we want to be able to visit that place of not knowing and come back with wisdom and knowledge. And what really starts to happen after years and years of practice is you discover you can't bring it back. Not only can you not bring it back, there's nothing to bring back. That the very thing that is infinite and eternal and that is witnessable is this very thing you are. The very thing you have lived in moment to moment in your life from the beginning of the day to the end of time. This is what you are, this macrocosmic vast reality that cannot ever be owned. And all of these journeys that we take beyond the known into the unknown have one ultimate purpose, which is to finally free us of our need to separate from it on any level. Our need to say, I am in some way other than that. I am a knower of, a viewer of, a believer in, a traveler through that. Because that, what you discover is completely wrong. You are not separate from it. You are the very truth of it. And it is so big and so vast that it cannot in any way be known. It is unknowable. I dwell on this a lot because so many people that I know who do this practice, do any practice, want the advantage of knowledge. They want the advantage of saying, I know the truth, and perhaps you don't. I have it. I have found it. Anyone who announces that is not telling you the truth. Because there comes a moment in this exquisite journey where that which tries to own it dissolves. And all that's left is this imperfect person that you've always been, will always be, until you fade away, that absolutely knows nothing. It absolutely does not change you and create a perfect being, because that which is perfect is the very essence of it. It doesn't have to create anything, but it has created you. It has created you. You are that. You are, in the most remarkable way, the entirety, the beauty, the mystery, the horror, the greatness, the minutiae of all that can ever be. You are that. And the minute you just stop trying to be it, you realize you don't have to try anything. Liberation is that you are what you seek. It does not absolve you of being a person, of having feelings and fears and hopes and emotions and loves and attachments. It does not wipe that away. Some people will try to tell you that it does, but it, in the end, makes you profoundly human. Profoundly human. Human to the point where you can no longer reach for anything to change you because you are the very essence of change itself. You settle into this amazing dichotomy of being everything and a piece of everything at the same time. You are not separate, you are not exalted, you are not minuscule and unimportant. All of those concepts, all of those words just dissolve. They dissolve. And you cannot even put a name or a thought or an idea into the mix that will explain it. It's unexplainable. And what happens is you finally go, okay, okay. And it's a fascinating moment because you're going okay to something that doesn't feel resolved, that doesn't feel like you have all the answers, that hasn't made you rich, that hasn't even gotten you a partner that you want, or has gotten you a partner you don't want, or has gotten you everything you ever wanted and you're going to lose it. The reality of life is the reality of life. And the reality of not knowing is just going, oh, to the thing literally that cannot be known. It's so funny. It's that old Zen aphorism, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. You end up in the same place. The only difference is, in the beginning you know, and the end you don't know. But not knowing is worth arriving at because it's filled with a kind of awe and wonder that come out of witnessing truth moment to moment to moment to moment. It doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make you anything. It eliminates you from the equation. And yet there's this, this Bruce thing is still going on, and it still, wants to eat, and it wants to see the grandkids, and it wants to go to a movie. It's like, well, then how are you spiritual if that's what's going on? Wanting to go to a movie and play with the grandchildren and eating happens to be one with everything. It's the totality. Why do you think you have to remove anything from anything? This is what it is. You turn on the TV and you see the world is a madhouse, and you go, oh, it's a madhouse. Wow. Part of you may get angry and want to fix it. A part of you goes, fix it. What does that mean? And you may decide there's a way for you to fix it. You may decide there's just you're a witness. Whatever you come to is the totality. There's a sense of wanting to improve things that seems natural in the organic process of growing and becoming a person. That's very real. There are people who do very bad things and end up paying huge consequences for it. It's all part of the totality. As you start to become aware of that which you don't know, as you become aware and expand the unknown, and then finally give yourself over to total unknowing, what you'll come back with is, and I can only describe this from experience, trying as best you can, and trying is the wrong word, allowing as best you can a kind of simplicity of functioning in the everyday, moment-to-moment reality that unfolds and expresses itself in front of you. It's not even in front of you, it's really within you and around you. You discover there is no value in fighting anything. There is no value in hating anything. It just is. But if hate comes up and fighting comes up, there you are. It's part of it. It's part of the whole. I've said it many times, awakening and enlightenment give you nothing, literally. But it's an amazing nothing. It's an amazing nothing. It's sitting in front of you as I speak. There's nothing in the universe at this moment in time that isn't amazing. And if you are not filled with amazement, that's because you have separated yourself from all that is. You have come to know it. The minute you know it, it's over. The minute you know the universe, you are lost because you don't know it. And the minute you don't know it, you've found everything. You will walk around in a state of awe, wonder, and gratitude. And I say this every week. Awe, wonder, and gratitude, because this is. And you will have no clue to what it is or why it is, but it is, and you are an integral element in it, and you are in some way the oceanic truth of it. Indescribable, inexpressible, unknowable, but thank you. Thank you. That's the journey we're on. So, yes, we can't know what we don't know, but there is a known that is unknowable that will change everything. And the more you let go, the more that will reveal itself, and the more free you will be to know and be what you are. Any questions? It's too intellectual, right? It's like, well, I don't understand that. What is he saying? I would like to say that everything I'm saying in terms of the word flow of it is dismissible. I'm hoping you can catch a little bit of the drift of the beingness of what is being expressed, because that's more meaningful than the ideas contained. The journey into this known unknown is worth every effort you put into it. There is nothing better in life. There is nothing richer or more completing or more fulfilling, even though it empties you out into zero. The goal is zero. This is all zero. It does not add up. It only becomes zero. And zero has everything in it. Again, stuff for the mind that doesn't do anything. But it leads you a little bit into the, maybe the I want that, or I want to go there, or why not me, or whatever those things are, and that you begin to do this internal dance that finally will be supported by the zero and will go and blow you away into nothing. Okay. Thank you. I'll be in LA next week. I don't remember the teaching schedule. Do you guys have a sense of it at all? Nobody has a sense of the teaching schedule. Okay, well, let's figure it out. And I'll get a hold of somebody to teach here next week. So there'll be a class here next week, and I'll be back the week after. And thank you guys for coming.